And here we go with Business Internet Mastery, Season 6, Session 7, rocking it out with more of this beautiful shift in mankind, artificial intelligence. I just want to say thank you so much for all the positive feedback from last month's session. Well, 2 sessions where we really worked with OpenAI's new ChatGPT version, I think it's 3.5, to really help us live healthier, happier lives, as well as really dial in time saving and mastery through communication. And I love what we created, and I like how it ended up working out last month. If you haven't watched that training, I did a separate case study for creating an ebook and creating everything that goes with it to promote it, to put it in social media, all these kind of things. And it came out great. People are like, hey, can I share this video and do that? And I'm like, go for it. I left it on YouTube, the it's about 10 minute long video where I created the ebook and everything. And I don't have to tell you, and I did tell you last session if you were with us, that going back a decade ago when I hired content writers, to get them even near that level of proficiency, which was next to impossible, especially when you look at emotionally engaging titles, and then this consistency of the idea of what we're posting in social media, like various options with different words, that's tricky because our brains are like wired to just think one way, so to speak, and not have a built-in thesaurus. So it handles all of that. And today we're gonna have a lot of fun because we're gonna go through, start with the big why, the 5 Ps, then we're gonna move through a very specific framework, talking about workflows, how we can leverage ChatGPT and even other forms of AI to go after that. We're also gonna really dive into making sure we understand the ALSD bullseye. If you've been with us, you know what that means. If you haven't, we'll be going over that with you. And where to start. Like, where do we start? If we're gonna grow our business or amplify what we already have, what's the process for that? So we'll be going over all that with you as well. So I just wanna say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to rock this with you, get the down and dirty details and make this all real for you, and be on this journey with me as we really leverage the power of technology to help you improve your life and grow your business. Big part of my purpose. So honored to be on the journey with you. That all said, let's dive right in and get into the 5 Ps, because that's going to be the sort of foundation for what we're going to talk through today. You can see 2 of the Ps in our title: purposeful and profitable, asterisk, workflows to grow your business, starring ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. So the asterisk there, because I cannot make promises. The FTC, Federal Trade Commission, says I can't make promises about you making any money with what I'm going to go over. We are seeing higher levels of lead conversion and higher levels of sales conversion because AI has done the heavy lifting for us, as we've talked about before, and we'll get into that detail and make sure you understand it. So the 5 Ps: purpose, passion, positivity, productivity, profitability. So as I go over these, I'd love for you to think about your business and maybe pick a service, solution, or product and think about how you feel in terms of these Ps. And I kind of walk you through that as we write them in. How purposeful does that feel for you? Do you have emotional engagement? Passion, we'll call it. How positive are you feeling about that? How energetically positive? Are you taking action to move it forward? And most importantly, is it generating profit for you? Maybe not yet, but can it generate profit for you? So let's kind of break these down. So often when we think about our business, especially if we're a solopreneur or a small business owner, we're like, yeah, the purpose of my business, and I'm going to go over mine, so I'll just kind of use that as an illustration for you, is to help you grow your business and improve your life through the power of technology. That's today's purpose. Does that make sense? I hope, as I'm delivering this training for you, that I'm emotionally engaged, and you sense, and I'm getting chills just telling you this, my passion for this. This is everything. I'm just so honored to be on this journey and see in my lifetime where we came from in the 70s, which technology-wise wasn't much, to the 90s when I started the internet business, just before the internet caught that wave, got people connected, got businesses online with worldwide web pages. really helping people. That's been a thread of my life. Improving people's lives, growing people's businesses through the power of technology. And that's what I'm emotionally engaged with, passionate about. Does that make sense? So we really want to reflect this on you. Are you feeling purposeful and are you clear about what that looks like for you and your business? Are you feeling emotionally engaged and enthused about what you're doing? The energy is everything about sales conversion, lead conversion, and conveying that is what happens when you really get things masterfully done, so to speak. Positive energy, are you bringing great energy into this? I hope I'm demonstrating that for you. And if you're not, what are you doing to reset? Are you productive? Are you working FOO? And I'll start with the O in FOO, F-O-O, outcomes. I'm clear on what my outcomes are. And then we go to the middle O. I'm clear on the outputs that I need to move things forward with. Then we go to F. I'm clear about how I want to feel as I'm doing the work and seeing the outcomes come to life. And the F comes from a lot of our work in high performance. This beautiful 48 sessions where we really dive deep on how we want to feel, and we use that kind of as a propellant to move things forward. You may have felt this before when you're in the midst of doing something and you're like, kind of dragging your feet with it. And next thing you know, for whatever reason, sometimes this happens to me, it's like somebody dropped a bomb of productivity on me. I'm like, I got to move this thing forward because I really want to see it get put into the world. Go back to that trifecta of happiness, learning new things, creating from what we've learned, and then this productive part, sharing it with the world. And today we'll be talking about workflows through that lens. Finally, profit. If, and this is what I always challenge people on, if we get the first 4 P's aligned and we've got clear offers, clear things for people to buy, that last P, profit, can happen almost automatically. It's like a side effect. If I go out and talk purposefully about technology and helping you improve your life and grow your business, and I got great energy and emotional enthusiasm and positive energy, and I'm moving things forward for you, or in me, I got a clear workflow for it, and I got a clear plan for you to buy something that will help you move things forward, or help my team move things forward for you, boom, profit. Does that all make sense? So that's the overview of why we're doing what we're doing. And we'll be referencing those P's as we step into this work. Definitely purposeful and profitable workflows. So let's go ahead and jump right into the training. Very first item, what is a workflow? And so many people are like, yeah, I know what a workflow is, but I just want to make sure we baseline this and we have a real clear idea what a workflow is. So a workflow is simply a process, a procedure that we refine and define, maybe the other way around, define and refine as we move things forward. Think of it like a system, a process. The very best businesses are run by systems. And like when if you were to buy a franchise, you'd be buying workflows. You'd be buying systems that are well-defined, well-organized, and known to work. They're known to create profitable outcomes. If you can live into the system, and when you buy a franchise, you have to go through a lot of training typically. They give you, here's the guidelines, here's how you have to structure things, here's how you have to build, if it's like a restaurant or something like that, here's how you have to build it. But it's all about workflows. It's all about the process. It's all about people following specific procedures or processes, workflows is another way of thinking of it, to achieve outcomes. And so what I really want to make sure as we get this conversation started is the powerful 4 areas that we have to concentrate on to grow an amazing business. And I would challenge you on the fact that it's purposeful. That's really helping people out. And I'm going to go right to, what the powerful 4 are if you've been with me. The ALSD bullseye. So what's the ALSD bullseye? This represents the 4 critical areas that you need to really spend time on to assure you're crushing, absolutely dominating your business. And so many people, especially in the last decade that I've worked with and coached, they've come to me and said, Char, I'm working on creating blog posts and I'm participating in social media, but I am not growing my business, specifically through the revenue lens. Does that make sense? They're not making any money. And that's the awareness work. So that's the outer ring for the ALSD bullseye. And that's an area where we will define some workflows. And we'll work through those in just a little bit. with ChatGPT, which is pretty amazing when you think about what it can do for us, especially today, especially with my history. I'm more blown away than most because I'm like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. Just to get to half this quality, just to get the wording and the grammar right in this realm, it took lots of training because typically the people we hired were good writers, but not great. Sometimes there was a couple people that we hired that were really great writers, but they were not great, and we had to work that. And it's kind of like a skill. If you don't use it every day, you lose it, so to speak. So they'd go away for a week or two and they'd come back and I'm like, what is this? So awareness is the first ring. The second ring is leads. I'll go through the rings, then we'll break them down. The third ring is sales. And the fourth is deliverables. And let's start in the middle. The deliverables are the services, the products, the solutions you offer. And I want to make sure we do this, where to begin with the heavy lifting. When we consider, and let me just kind of do this through my lens of my businesses over the years. When we consider where to start here, it is so much easier to start with a great deliverable. In other words, a great service, solution, or product that stands alone, that when people receive it, like a service or solution, or back in the day I was selling computers, and with it I would come out to your house, set the computer up, and sit with you for 1 hour to teach you how to use it, turn it on, turn it off, get into it, make sure that we were clear on the things you want to use your computer for, and you knew how to get into them and start to do them, and print and all that kind of stuff. Especially in the late 80s, that was a huge deal. Well, before Windows, by the way. I feel like an ancient grandpa. But that's the idea, right? So when I think about that deliverable, the reason my business grew so fast was because people were like, Charlie came out to my house, set up the computer, made the complex simple. People would say words like that, and worked with me until. I always scheduled 3 hours to do this setup and the training. I told them I'd be there for an hour. Usually I was there for an hour and a half to 2, outside of setting up the computer and getting all the parts connected and all that. Just over-delivering on value. So the heavy lifting was done for me back in the day in the computer world because my deliverable spoke for itself and people shared the experience. Does that make sense? So it was like viral, right? There was a viral aspect to it. I would get calls from people I didn't know and they're like, hey Char, my friend, my mom, my cousin, whoever would love the way you took care of them, set their computer. I need a new computer. Would you come out and train me too? And I'm like, you bet. So let's lay out what your actual needs are. And then I would create a proposal. In that proposal, I'd bundle a bunch of time. So we would be able to go out, really serve and support them. And it was an extra valuable deliverable. And it was like back in the day, back in those days, computers were becoming a commodity. You can go to, at that time, you can go to Best Buy or CompUSA to buy a computer. But then you'd have to figure it all out and set it up. And the thing is that when people do that, typically what I found is it took months sometimes for them to get proficient with it because they just didn't spend the time in learn mode, so to speak. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, get them going. And then we ended up offering classes to facilitate specific programs like Lotus back in the day. That speaks volumes for where I'm coming from. WordPerfect, all these different tools that people could use back before Windows, back before Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all those kind of things. Boy, I feel like an old boy. So good. But does that make sense? So I'm just really trying to illustrate for you how to think about creating a deliverable, a service, solution, or product that like people just want to share it. A great example of this is exactly what we're talking about today, ChatGPT. Once it came out and people just started demonstrating what its capabilities were, I found it on TikTok. And then other people, and I found it secondarily on Twitter, it was like showtime. And it grew insanely fast, like 1 million users inside a short period of time because of its virality, so to speak. So our job as we think about you to create purposeful and profitable business is to really, really start with an amazing deliverable. And if this is way over your head and you're not sure where to start, that's why we have the mastery community. That's why we have this for you. It's so that I can do, and our team, I would say our community can really help you think about how to just create an amazing deliverable or deliverables, services, solutions, products, whatever that is for you. And really think about adding so much value that people feel like, oh, I got to share this. I got to go after this. Does that all make sense? And it's like people, you'll know you have an amazing, valuable deliverable when people are like, I got to get in on this because my friend told me what you guys did for her. I need to get it. I need to get in on this mastery community because my friend's telling me how much they're growing and you're giving insight and helping them brainstorm for their business. I need to get in on this. Like, that's the tell, where their friends are telling their friends. Does that make sense? So good. So then the next area, coming out from the middle, and I usually recommend starting with the deliverable. And let me kind of reframe why. I kind of shared this, but I want to make sure we really get this for you. A lot of the heavy lifting is done if you have a great deliverable. You do not have to work the sales, the leads, the awareness. They come to you. Does that make sense? Like, people share it, and you're just like, yeah, I can help you. Here's how that looks. Click this button, buy this thing. Oh, let's go. And we'll get started. All the heavy lifting is done because they're coming in hot, so to speak. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure we do the heavy lifting first. So please, please, please spend some time deeply thinking about your 5 Ps and your deliverables. It's the second item up there. Let me add that. Deliverables. Deeply think about these 5 Ps through the lens of your deliverable. What feels purposeful? What can I get emotionally engaged or passionate about? Where do I have great energy? And I'm thinking about the computer's days back in that time, and all these things were fired off like 100 times. Like, if it was rate 0 to 10 on how you were in each of these areas, I was a 10 plus. Productive. All right, let's get these ads out. Let's get these people. Let's start calling people. That's what I was up to. Hey, you looking for a new computer? I got something for you. I'm going to come out and teach you how to use it, install it. And if you have specific needs for programs, we got training on that too. Profitable, making sure that every sale contained profit. Does that all make sense? How the 5 Ps apply to that illustration? So then we go out to the sales area. And now we start to work our proposals, in the case of what I was doing with the computers. Today's work with a lot of people coaching, we have an offer inside a tool like Kajabi, where people look through, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I got to fill out this application. Got it. Okay, I'm going to press this button to buy a starter plan or a strategy session or whatever that would be. So the next area we want to be clear about is our sales arena. The offers, the process, the workflow. And I should mention in the deliverables realm, we have a clear workflow. So let me step back for just a minute. The workflow was very clear when I would deliver a computer. They would go through a process where we would assess their needs. I would create a proposal. They'd sign the proposal. We would literally build the computer. We had, back in those days, we built the computer, putting chips in and putting it in a case and bringing a monitor, keyboard, mouse, doing it. Then I'd pack it all up. I'd take it to their house or their business, and I would set it up, and we'd go through a 3-hour time where for usually the first 20 minutes or so, maybe half hour, I was putting the computer together, getting it all set up in their desk, those kind of things. And then for the next hour to 2.5, I was teaching, training, and helping them get into it, get into the right application, doing a little bit of training on each application just so they could get, over that hump of like, what is this? What is it? I don't understand the function keys in WordPerfect. How do I do that? Oh, okay, there's a cheat sheet. Got it. That kind of thing. Does that make sense? I just want to be very clear about the workflow there. Now, in the sales workflow, part of that deliverable process you heard was the assessing of their needs and then creating the proposal and then having them sign or write a check or give us a credit card. Does that make sense? So that's a kind of minuscule part of a workflow. For us, in the bigger picture today, a lot of the sales workflow, and we'll work through some of this with ChatGPT in a minute, can be done through a sales flow, a sales process, workflow. And I've taught in previous trainings, and I'll try to link to that below for those of you who are in the mastery community, so that you can go back through some of the best sales flows. And you may remember it's based on the persuasion formula, session 10, the core sessions of high performance coaching. The persuasion formula, struggle to ambition, bridging the gap, if you remember that sales flow process, gold. And that's what I've actually used. I didn't realize I was using it for the last 30 plus years. Sales flow, sales workflow. So I just want to make sure we're kind of tying this together for you. Then beyond the sales workflow, we got to go out into the leads world. Well, how are we generating leads? How are we finding people that either know us or don't know us, and that's what this little guy represents, and I'll go over that in just a second, to have them go down a path, a flow, workflow, to become a sale, to buy a deliverable. Does that make sense? So we're kind of coming out of the middle of this ALSD bullseye all the way out to the A, which is awareness. And now what are we doing to beat the drums of awareness? To really go out and let the world know, hey, I've got something for you that's unique and valuable, and hopefully it's viral in the way that people experience it and share it with other people, that they're like, oh my gosh, I've got to work with this guy, I've got to work with this girl, I've got to work with this company. There's just no doubt about it. Does that make sense? They're so good at what they do. Their product is so amazing. Their service is off the charts. Their solution completely saves me time and money. It does what it's supposed to do, plus more. I hope I'm living into that for you today as we step into this world of the ALSD bullseye. So let's go real quick to this little drawing. And if you haven't heard, this is something I've taught for quite a few years now. You have to work the green to get the green. There's a great quote that I heard from Brendan Burchard, and this was back in 2012, maybe 2011, that said there's $1 million in business with the people you already know and the people they know. You just have to structure your, and he didn't say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this, your flow properly, your workflow, the questions you ask, the way you get them to sales, the way that you get them to buy something from you. And I can only tell you this is exactly how my life's worked over the last, well, since 1988. I don't know how many years ago that was, but it was a lot of years ago when I was selling computers and putting them in houses and stuff. And it's that idea. It's just that idea. I worked the people that I knew, and they virally spread, Charlie's your guy. And next thing you know, I'm the guy. And I'm going out installing, I think at the height of it, 12 computers a week. I just know that there was 5 days in a week, and it was the first half of the day, second half of the day, 2 computers. And then on 2 nights, I'd go out after work, like after they got home from work, and install. So that was a 3-computer day. Or there'd be 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think is how it worked, if I remember right. And it was that kind of thing where it virally spread. And I was like burnt out back then. That was 1992. I think I was just toast. We were crushed in sales. Our reputation was awesome. I did get technicians in, Dan and Ryan and Don, to build the computer, so I didn't have to do that part of it. But I was just toast, burnt out. That's when I got my first step into that. So that's sort of a great problem to have if you're going through this. But really, really, really want to make sure you got clear deliverables. And I would just challenge you that people need them. They feel like they need them, not want them. They're like, it'd be great to have that. It's like, oh my gosh, that's who I got to work with because I really need to have that in my life, or I need that to enhance my business, or I need that to improve my life, ... You're clear on your sales. What are the actual offers you have? You know? You're clear on how you're going out and looking at leads. You're clear on how you're going out and generating awareness. So coming back to here, the green represents the people you already know. So that's you. I hope I drew you perfectly. The green represents the people you already know. The people just off your fingertip are the people that know you the most. Like your spouse, your family, your immediate and extended family, your friends, that kind of thing. As you get out to the end of that green line, it's acquaintances. They don't even maybe know you, but they know your name. That's the essence of how they even could connect you to anything. Does that make sense? Beyond that is red. And red is people that just don't know you. And what I want to share with you is that it's really difficult, typically, unless your product speaks for itself, or your solution, or your service, to convert red people here that don't know you over green people. Like people that already know you and know what you're good at are way more apt to buy from you than people in the red. Does that make sense? So I would just challenge you as you think through the bullseye and you think through the needs and wants to co-create your deliverables. This is incredibly important, and that's what we'll use ChatGPT for in a little bit, is to help us co-create like language and what the current needs are in the world and those kind of things. Some of that ChatGPT can do, some of that you really have to go out and sort out what the needs are related to your service, solution, or product. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure we're kind of giving you the holistic approach here. Here's the bullseye to work from. If you create a deliverable that speaks volumes, meaning that people are like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing, and I get so much value out of it, I gotta tell my friends about it. And they don't even think it that way. They just do tell their friends about it. And you're working the green to get the green and living to that motto. There's $1 million in business with the people you know and the people they know. And I can only tell you that's the darn truth. Because when we built our internet business, starting in 94 through 2000, when I sold it, October 10th of 2000, it was a viral spread. We did zero advertising. Like people would come in and say, well, not true, we did some advertising. But about 96, we stopped doing all advertising because we couldn't keep up with a load of referrals because the service was so valuable. We added things that people asked for. Back before Craigslist, we had ISME, Internet Services of Michigan, ISMI, ISME online ads. It was a really great system. If you go on the Wayback Machine on the internet, you can still see it. I don't think you can use it because it's programmatic, meaning that the internet Wayback Machine doesn't show you, like doesn't copy the code per se, but it shows you the front page of it. We had Shop Livingston. We had all kinds of extra goodies for our subscribers that were dialed into us through the internet. And I just want to make sure if we dial in your deliverable, and that's what we'll spend some time with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is pretty good there. I think that's something that at this point we really need to talk through depending on what it is you're selling to really brainstorm in that space. And then you go and share it and have people you already know buy it. They may talk about to other people and you live right into that. And maybe it's not $1 million out of the gate, but it gets there because people are loving what you got. But I have to say this. I hope this isn't sending too much your way. But you have to live into these things. If that person calls up, let's just do a little side journey here. If a person called me, and I was burnt out in 92, like end of 1992, I was toast. And they called me. I can tell you right now that when they called me, I was not the same guy I was in 1990. It wasn't, hey, I'm so excited you called. Let's talk about what your needs are. Let's walk through this. And then we'll build a computer that's perfect for you. And the marketing campaign I came up with was Build a Beast. So we're going to build that beast for you. And I had this guy with a Build a Beast and all this stuff in the marketing. I have to dig that out. Anyway, the idea was that I was all energetic. I was passionate, purposeful. Remember, helping people with technology, improve their lives, grow their business. I was positive, and boy, was I productive. And at the end of 92, you called me, I'd be like, oh, I may not call you back. That's how bad it got. It's so not my personality. I was so exhausted. And when I did call you back, I could tell you my purpose. It was in there, but it wasn't very forward and apparent. Passion, positive, I was barely hanging in there. I remember people coming in, people that knew me inside the green here, going, Char, are you okay? Like, this isn't like you. And I'm like, I am tanked. I am done. And so the one guy, I think it was Uncle Ted maybe, said, you need to take a week vacation and reset yourself. And I ended up doing that, and that saved the day. I just work, man. I was the hustler. Back in the day, and there was an article about it, actually, I can share with you. The concept I want to be very clear about as we step into the next part of our journey today is if you create a deliverable that's exceptional, and I would just challenge you to spend extra time thinking about how to make it exceptional. How can I 10x this? How can I make this thing absolutely world-class? These are great questions to ask. And if you don't have the answers, that's what co-creation is about. Co-create with people that might buy it from you. Co-create with me. That's going to be very helpful. And it's going to kill a lot of the heavy lifting of doing any kind of sales in the future. I've been very fortunate that with all my businesses, that's happened. Like I haven't had to advertise. Since ISMI, I haven't had to advertise at all. I've just gone out and networked, talked to people, and then they start talking to people. And next thing you know, we're loaded. It's very common for my team to go, stop selling. We do not have more bandwidth. That's a great problem to have, right? So that's the essence of this. And I just want to make sure we drilled that home for you. Is that cool? Awesome. So if you're not experiencing that, then we need to talk. And we need to leverage the power of AI to help us there too. That all said, let's go ahead and jump into beating the drums in days of work in minutes. So when we go to beat the drums, this is where ChatGPT can do the heavy lifting for us. And what I mean by that is it can come up with sales pages. It can come up with sales scripts. It can develop, and it can sound like you if you feed it the right information. It can develop opt-in pages. It can develop email sequences. I demonstrated that last month. It can develop tweets. It can develop social media updates. Its sister DALL-E, DALL-E, image creation. It can develop images, and then you can use a program like Canva to put text on those images for what we call quote cards. This is a really important part of this journey, is that if we're going to go out and beat the drums, there's got to be some workflow and rhythm to it. Does that make sense? So at this point, I would just love for you to pick one of your services, solutions, or products and think about what it is, the deliverable, and the workflow of the deliverable. Let me kind of reframe for you. Back in the day, I would meet with people, determine their needs, build a computer that met those needs or typically exceeded those needs. And then I would go, part of the deliverable workflow was I would build it. Once they paid, I'd build it. And then I would pack it up and go out on site and spend up to 3 hours with them, getting it all set up, getting them trained on it, and assuring they were completely taken care of. And then when I was driving back, that job was done. Does that make sense? So that was a good as your last sale job, meaning that they bought it, I went out and installed it, and so on. I didn't realize until a little later, this was early 90s, that with businesses we could do service contracts. So I brought in a friend of mine, Doug, and we really built a service contract business because I recognized back then, thanks to Ed, by the way, the power of recurring revenue. And then he had a talk with me a little later on, if you know my story, where I really recognized the power of recurring revenue, and that's when the internet business was formed and took off because it was based on subscription income. So does that make sense, how you want to be real clear about your deliverable workflow? Then we go out to beat the drums in the sales realm. Okay, what's the landing page look like, or the offer page, or whatever that is, that sells the product? And what's the flow for that? Like, how do people get there? That goes out to the next ring, the leads. What's the lead workflow? Are we going to run ads? Are we going to email our existing list? Are we going to go out and interact with people in LinkedIn groups, in social media, those kind of things? What's our lead gen plan, procedure? And the beauty is we don't need to think about that. We can just ask ChatGPT. I keep going over there because the computer's over there. And then on the awareness side, what are we doing to continually beat the drum? Every day, what kind of posts are going out? What kind of tweets are going out? What kind of information is flowing out of us? And are we doing the work? Or are we letting ChatGPT and other forms of AI do the heavy lifting, right? So I just want to make sure we paint the frame of what beating the drum means as we go out and really try to create awareness, which convert. So awareness is where you're just sending it out to the red, typically, and the people you know as well. Like if you post something on social media, there may be some people that you don't know see it, and there may be people that you do know see it. So that's an awareness play. But the moment they raise their hand and say, I'm interested, they become a lead. They would be like an email address in your email program, like Kajabi or MailChimp or iContact, right? The moment they go from a lead to a sale, it's like, hey, I want that. Where do I go to buy it? Hopefully you've got a real clear process for them. And they click on that thing, click buy, poof, now they're at a sale, and that starts the deliverable process. Does that all make sense? I hope this is all coming together for you. So beating the drum is a really critical part of this. In Days of Work in Minutes, that's where we're going to bring out ChatGPT and rock it out on the big screen. So let's go ahead and do that. I hope this is serving you and taking care of you as we think through really making this real for you. Because I want to make sure as we think about what's the absolute best use of our time, that we have a very clear flow for that. And we have a very clear outcome. And we also recognize where you may have hangups. Some of the people that I work with, they're like, I'm not a good salesperson. And that language is not helpful from the perspective of you. And sometimes people even say this. They're sabotaging their own sales because they don't feel competent in the sales process. So ChatGPT cannot give you confidence. Just so you know, that's something that we work with you on. Build your competence to build your confidence. That's that. If you're familiar with our work in high performance, there's an infinity symbol where competence and confidence are directly like relational. And you build your competence, you build your competence. So competence is where you're doing the work, making the calls, reaching out to people. Hey, can I help you? Can we get on a discovery call? That's what I call it. So that we can talk through what your needs are and then best assess how I might be able to help you or direct you. And that's just what I just shared with you is what a lot of people get hung up on. Does that make sense? So I really hope this is landing for you. That said, let's go ahead and jump into ChatGPT. I got it sitting right here. So as we think about the very first piece, the deliverable, we may ask, and let's just pick an example of a monthly membership program. And let's just use our own monthly membership program as an example. And I'm going to give ChatGPT, I'm going to start a new chat. And in this thread, I can feed it information and it'll reference it. It'll incorporate it. It'll like know it, so to speak. So I'm going to describe, I have a monthly membership program that helps people improve their lives and grow their businesses. And you know what? Let's see if we can jack this font up. Let's just check here. All right, there we go. And I'm going to move back just a little bit to make sure you can see the screen. And then in post, I'll make sure that the screen is bigger than it is, as big as possible. I have a monthly membership program that helps people improve their lives and grow their businesses. And would like some ideas on how to promote it. Here's some ideas for how to promote your monthly membership program. What's it telling us? Leverage social media to reach your target audience. Share testimonials, case studies, success stories to demonstrate the value of your program and encourage people to join. Content marketing. Everything we just talked about is coming up here. It's getting chills. It blows my mind. Create valuable educational content that positions your monthly membership program as a solution to problems and challenges your target audience is facing. Use blog posts, infographics, videos, other forms of content. Partner with influencers. That's the part I shared about that idea of you create $1 million in sales with the people you know and the people they know. But some of those people are, in today's terms, influencers. Paid advertising, talked about that. Host webinars, offer a free trial, optimize your website. Optimize your website for keywords related to self-improvement. Remember, and this is so critical, and I love the fact ChatGPT knows this, with the monthly membership program and its promotion, you have to be consistent and persistent in your promotion efforts. Always focus on delivering value to your target audience. Does that make sense? So right out of the gate, it gave us very, very wise inputs on what we need to think about to promote a monthly membership program. Is that helpful? So I just want you to really think about this through the lens of what your deliverable is. So if we think about Alex Hormozi's work, he's the guy who wrote $100 million offers. And it happened last week. I was in Vegas, and I'm coming around in Cosmo, second floor by the Chandelier Bar, if you're familiar with Vegas. And I'm walking around, and I walk right into Alex Hormozi and his wife. I think it was with his wife. And I'm like, immediately my brain's like, Alex. And he looks at me like, how do you, like, he probably gets that a lot. I'm like, thanks for all your great work. He goes, you bet. And he kept walking. I was like, oh, serendipitous to the max. That was amazing. But Alex's work, when we think about what Alex talks about, a big part of it is what I shared. That's that viral spread of really creating something of significance that really helps people, like, they just have an innate feeling they got to share it. Is that helpful? So let's just get a little nutty, we'll call it, and say, how can I make my monthly membership program incredibly valuable? And see what it does with that. And while it's doing that, I'm going to grab my coffee and a water here. And we'll rock that out, have a little coffee time together as we rock this out. So here's more articulation on building the workflow for sales and for deliverables. Make your monthly program incredibly valuable requires a combination of several factors. Here's some tips to achieve this goal. Solve a specific problem. Provide exclusive access to resources, tools, expertise that your members won't find anywhere else. Deliver personalized support. Continually innovate. Make it actionable. Make sure your monthly program is actionable and results. It's so funny we're going over this because isn't that what today's all about? And then what do we have here? We have an action list. Like, I always try to leave you with actionable items. This is so incredible. Offer incentives. Foster a sense of community. It just blows my mind that it's coming up with these things, and these are what 10 years ago we would have been trained through Brendan Burchard in my journey in Experts Academy to do. And it can articulate this. So let's just get a little nuttier on this and think about the workflow and the description in the deliverable of how to foster a sense of community. Can you share ways to foster a sense of community today? Let's just, we get it, but let's just sort out, what is the workflow for a sense of community? So here we go. It's got tactics for us. Online forums. Create an online forum where members can connect, share their experiences. Group coaching sessions. Daniel and Rob rocking it out. Offer group coaching sessions where members can work together. Virtual events. Host events. And then be sure that you connect and engage, Zoom has breakaway groups? Yeah, where you can send people into, you have 10 people in there, you can put them in groups of 2 or 3. In-person events, if possible. Host in-person events. Collaborative projects. Encourage members to work together. So what I'm really trying to sort of fulfill for you is ways to think about delivering exceptional value in your deliverable workflow, right? Because if we reverse engineer these deliverables, some of them are where we're facilitating Zooms, essentially, and we're doing great in terms of questions, kind of like our Zoom roundtables. Others are where we're having a live event, and there's a flow for that, right? So think about it in the lens of a yearly schedule. If every month we did a live event, like a in-person workshop, I used to do those a lot back in the 90s. 90s? Zeros, back in the zeros. And in the 90s we did those too. And we had a rhythm, a cadence to it. There would be a flow for that, right? And at the outcome of that event, we would have people sign up for something or buy whatever it is we're selling. Does that make sense? So we're just trying to really come up with ideas, and we're letting ChatGPT do the heavy lifting of helping us define our deliverables and sales workflow. Cool? So really want to make sure of that. I also love the idea that ChatGPT can help us ask better questions. So let's give it a try through the lens of helping us ask better questions as part of our workflow. Meaning this kind of goes from deliverables to sales, so we'll kind of shift to the S part of our bullseye right now. What are some great questions to ask people who might want to join my monthly membership program? And let's just see what it says. Sometimes it's on fire here, sometimes it isn't. But we may get, oh, it's on fire today. What I love about this, just so you know, is that it comes up with this on demand. So some days the answers are like, what the frick just happened? And other days it's like, what? Especially when I've asked it to ask questions. So I'm going to kind of walk through these. Great questions. What specific challenges or problems are you currently facing that you'd like to address through the program? What are your goals for participating in the monthly program? What resources, tools, or support do you currently have in place to achieve those goals? Achieve your goals. And that's a great question to ask, because if they say, I don't have any, what would you need? What are your expectations? What other programs have you used in the past to help you achieve your goals? What did you like and not like about those experiences? Are you comfortable participating in online forums, virtual events? What would be the biggest benefits of joining our program? What would prevent you from signing up? And that is magic. This question right here, it helps them in your sales flow process, qualify themselves for you. Does that make sense? When they have to ask, when you ask that, they're telling you why they need to join your stuff. And that's magic. We learned that, and it's so funny because these things, it's just whipping these things out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was Experts Academy. When I started to implement that back in 2012, 13, our sales went nuts. More so, and that's where I had my team say, stop selling, please. We don't have any more bandwidth for the internet marketing and stuff like that. Are you willing to invest time, effort in the program to achieve your goals? And do you have the necessary resources to fully participate in the program? This is magic. And I hope you sense how it's helping us define purposeful and hopefully profitable workflows for your business and enhance the experience. Better questions, better engagement, more value, because you understand what the things are that they want. So many people that I've worked with over the years are like, I know what they want, and they make it, and it's crickets. And I'm like, you never co-created. One of the biggest themes that we teach in high performance. influence, persuasion, all throughout the charge, all throughout the declarations, is people support what they create. So we have to be in that co-creative conversation. Boom. So we're in the sales workflow, and you're starting to see this process. So we've given it enough information, and it's filled enough information out that now we can start to use language to have it create a sales workflow for us. One of the prompts, sometimes ChatGPT is best when you have great prompts. One of the best prompts to use that I've discovered is this idea of, can you help me create a sales script for selling my monthly membership program? And it, boom diggity, yes! I love how positive it is. Here's a sample sales script that you can use to sell your monthly membership program. Introduction, start by introducing your monthly program. Explain the problem or challenge that your program addresses, the benefits that it offers. Qualifying questions. Ask the prospect a few questions, understand their needs and goals. That could be what was just for reference. This will help you determine the solution. Explain how your monthly membership program. Overcoming objections. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. The benefits. Reinforce the benefits of your program. Explain how it can positively impact the prospect's life or business. Use specific examples and success stories to illustrate your points. Urgency. It knows about urgency. The offer. Make it clear, compelling to join your program. Explain the steps the prospect needs to join. Closing. Close the sale by asking for the prospect's commitment. Thank them for their time. And emphasize the positive impact. Remember, the goal of your sales script is to effectively communicate the value of your monthly program, to persuade the prospect to join, be confident, friendly, engaging, and focus on addressing the needs and the goal of the prospect. Oh, blown away yet again. This is helping us understand and really articulate people support what they create as part of our sales flow. That said, let's have it do some heavy lifting now that it's done this work for creating a sales page. Can you create a sales page for my monthly membership program? Boom. Certainly. Here's an example sales page for your monthly membership program. Look at this. Program name, monthly membership program. Are you tired of? I think you get the point. It's doing the heavy lifting. So now as we think about this idea of reaching out to people we already know, let's just say we have a 5, 10, 15 person email list. I'm not even going to read this because it's so on point. But you get the idea. It's writing your sales page for you. Of course, you can have it articulate more. You can say, can you expand on this, or can you rewrite this using best practices as an internet marketer? We'll get into that in just a minute. But what I really want to make sure that we're seeing from the workflow perspective is that now we've got a basic sales page. And now, can you write a 3-part email sequence that promotes my monthly membership program? And then boom diggity, here's a 3-part sample email sequence. Email 1, introduction and problem solving, subject line. Does that all make sense, what this is doing for us? It's helping us think through how, as we come out from the deliverable and we go to sales, now we're reaching out to our leads, right? So let's have it write the first email, which is absolutely outstanding. In this program, you'll receive unique feature benefit program as well as additional resources. Don't miss out. Email 2 is benefits and community. Like, the world has changed. Bill Gates was just quoted as saying ChatGPT has an effect on humanity like the internet did in the 90s. And I would even say more so. The internet obviously has changed the dynamic of human interaction in the last 20 some years. But this, 25 years, almost 30 years, holy moly. This, if you're not using ChatGPT to amplify your words and your sales flow and your lead flow and your awareness, you're at a major disadvantage now. Even the best teams, PR teams, sales teams, Frank Kern style, Brendan Burchard style, they hire people and spend like tens of thousands of dollars to get copy. And it's probably a little more dialed in than this because it's very specific around what they need. But the concept is the heavy lifting is done for us. Does that make sense? We really have to celebrate what's going on here. So let's think about this through the lens of taking what we have here, and let's go out to the awareness piece. Let's recap what we've done. We've worked to create a deliverable and somewhat a deliverable flow. The way that works is that as a member, you're getting monthly training. That was part of it. You're getting monthly in-person event, live online event, Zoom roundtable. You're getting monthly coaching, and here's the flow for that. It's helped us formulate that idea. On a sales side and a lead side and awareness side, it said go ahead and create in-person events, workshops, online events, forums, these kind of things to help us facilitate a sense of community, right? Then we went through and we said, okay, now let's get real tactical and specific about writing a sales page. Let's get real tactical and specific about writing a 3-part email sequence to get our audience that we may already have ready for getting into our program. And it did the heavy lifting there for us. Now keep in mind, I didn't fuel it, which I could have, fueled it with a lot of the details of what this community is about. This is more generic, so I would have to fill in where it has the brackets, what the additional tools, resources, and so on are. Now let's take what we've covered so far and say, can you create 10 social media posts to promote my monthly membership program? And let's see what it does with that. Sure. I love how positive it is. Here's the 10 sample posts. Join this and say goodbye to that. Get this and be part of a supportive community. Program name, monthly membership. It's giving us hashtag ideas. Unlock your full potential with a monthly membership program. Get frequency access. And it's going to town because these are lengthy. You see, these are what, 100 characters? Maybe 150? Are you ready to achieve your... Oh, so good. For the sake of time, I'm going to go through and stop generating. And I'm going to go through and ask it, can you create 5 taglines for my monthly membership program? And then boom. So these could be tweets, short tweets, that kind of thing. These are real short. Taglines are simple, straightforward, hide the benefits of joining your monthly membership program. Feel free to adjust them. So these are real short. So we can ask it, can you create 5 more taglines with 150 characters each? So you see how it articulates and it expands on what it has here. So we've done a lot of heavy lifting for the awareness realm in terms of the sales flow, the lead gen. So let's think about a lead gen. Let's think about an opt-in. Can you create an opt-in page for my monthly membership program? And keep in mind, I haven't fed it anything about what the program actually does other than like the overall improve people's lives, grow people's business. Here's a sample opt-in page for my membership program. There you go. Oh man. I love how it gives you the brackets to really sort of flesh out that aspect of it without pre-feeding it with that information. And this is the best practice outline. I can only tell you this because I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 20 years in my own learning journey to develop the skills that probably aren't as good as this to sort this out. Does that all make sense? So, well, that being said, we've got a lot of the Purposeful Profitable workflow done, and I just want to make sure that we really are clear about what this can do and how it can help us in all the realms. So let's spend the last part of our time together before we get into our action list sorting out, rolling it out, right? So if we're really thinking about what ChatGPT's offered us, and we can go back through it all, and review it. It keeps it in this thread right here. We would think about, okay, if it's said to do these events, are these things that we want to do? And we're going to put them on the schedule. Highest performers know if it's not in the schedule, it's just a dream. So we're going to put a live event or a Zoom or a webinar or whatever in the events. We're going to define our schedule for our deliverables. In the mastery community, we have second Saturday of the month, that's today, where we're doing our training and our Zoom roundtable. And then the fourth Wednesday of the month, we do coaching and another Zoom roundtable. That's the deliverables. In between that, I do check-in calls with our members, those kind of things, or support them through email, those kind of things. That's the deliverable aspect of it. From the sales side of it, okay, now we need to define a sales page. It did the heavy lifting for us. We need to refine it, put it somewhere that people can see it and interact with it. I use Kajabi for that. You can use MailChimp for that. You could use Wix for that. There's a lot of options to create a sales page that can take money. You can interface it with PayPal real easily nowadays. It's pretty cool. And Wix does that incredibly easily for a baseline product. And you don't have to pay anything extra to have PayPal payments going in Wix. PayPal takes their money when the button's pressed, essentially. And then Wix, you do have to have a Premier plan, so it's like $10 a month, maybe $15 a month for a Wix Premier plan. And there's a site, Miss Maddie's Barbecue Sauce. I'll link to that below. That shows you the power of Wix with a PayPal integration. And that's for an actual product site that I built quite a while back. That piece of it. And then the rollout aspect of the leads, we saw that with the opt-in page, right? To get more information, to get a tool, to get a resource. That's a great idea. Then when we go to the awareness level, we can have it generate, and I'll start this process, generate 30 days in a month, 30 social media updates that share the idea of improving your life and growing your business with my monthly membership program. And here are 30 to promote your program. Take control of your life and achieve your goals with our monthly membership program. Join the supportive community, get personalized support on your journey to success with program name. And by the way, program name for me would be the Life and Business Mastery Community, right? Invest in yourself and your future, or the Life and Business Mastery Library. Because the community, we have a limited number of people that can join that. The library itself, we can do unlimited. Called that infinity offer back in one of our previous trainings. So it's just going to town and creating these. Then we could use this to roll it out. You can use the scheduling feature of Facebook. And that can go to Facebook and Instagram. It does require a picture if you're going to go to Instagram. You can use Twitter's schedule feature. You can go into LinkedIn. I think there's scheduling on LinkedIn. If there isn't, you could just put a daily rhythm together to put that in play, and that defines that workflow. Everything we've covered, and I hope we're living to the promise of today's training, is to purposefully and ultimately, hopefully profitably, grow your business through the power of ChatGPT. It has done so much heavy lifting. Just to get the competencies of what it's sharing here, it took me literally years to sort it out. And obviously technology has evolved during that time. This is keeping that in mind, so to speak. So that all being said, let's go ahead and wrap this beautiful baby up. We got to roll it out. We got days of work in minutes. I hope you saw that. The bonus, I've collected some of the very best collections, if you will, of ChatGPT trainings, videos, these kind of things. Like one of my lights is flaking out a little bit. And I want to make sure as we think this through for you that we give you extra value, exactly what we're teaching and training today. So I'm going to make sure if you want that bonus training, it is incredibly in-depth through all segments. And I don't know that I have it up. Let me check over here. Yeah, I do not have it up. But what I'll do is make sure that you get an idea of what's included in it. It's got everything from marketing to sales, and it just has tons of references. It's a really masterful Notion document that will help you. If you want that, just simply reach out to me and let me know. I'm going to send it to you. This assures that the people who get it have watched this training. Hint, hint. And that will really help you take this, go down the rabbit hole of ChatGPT. It's only going to make your life and business better. I hope you've sensed that. That said, let's whip through our action list as we wrap up this beautiful day. From the action perspective, and as ChatGPT just wrapped up our beautiful request, that's phenomenal. from the action perspective. We've got define your workflows. And I really want you to think about the second part, deeply think about your 5 Ps in your deliverable. What feels purposeful? What can I get energized around? What can I be positive around? What do I be productive? What's the outcome? And that's what this has helped us with. What's the profit center? What's the offers that are really going to make this thing rock? Does that all make sense? So we really want to make sure we're dialing all that in. So these first 2 are kind of bundled together. If you need help, ask for help. Let me know. Get in our Zoom roundtable. We'll brainstorm this. We'll clear the whiteboard and rock it and really own that for you. Study the needs versus wants. Brainstorm with us. What is it that we could add that when people experienced our deliverable, our service, our solution, or our product, that people were like, that was amazing. I got to tell everybody. And they don't think, I got to tell everybody. They just tell everybody. They're just telling everybody. So good. Use AI to do the heavy lifting. We've demonstrated much of that today through creating workflows, through really thinking about the deliverable workflow and what that can look like, the sales workflow, the lead workflow, the awareness workflow. And going back to the very beginning, it talked about having, recurring events, being consistent and persistent in our work. So I know we've just turned the funnel on for all this, but the job here is to refine it and think about what are the 1, 2, or 3 things I can do in the next quarter of time, 3 months, that will really move my thing forward, and let ChatGPT do the heavy lifting for you. And of course, ask for help. And if you reach out to me, just say, I want the bonus, Char. I'll send you the link for this Notion document that is insanely powerful, that will really help you propel your competency and your proficiency with ChatGPT. That all said, thank you so incredibly much for being with me as we dive deeper down the ChatGPT rabbit hole and rock it out. And I'll see you in our Zoom roundtable in just a little bit. Have a good one. Take care. Bye. We rocked it.